Yeah, so team, remember what I was saying about, refining your analysis and everything like that. So I want us to basically continue from the analysis that we did from last week, right? So basically we look at everything from basically a weekly perspective. So I want to go back to a weekly time frame so that I can give you like a nice breakdown, right? So as you can see from a weekly time frame, right, I'm gonna focus on current price section. What happened was the week of that opened on the 28th of July managed to sweep the low of 21 July, 14 July, and 7 July. So it swept all these consecutive lows that were lining up, as you can see from here. Those consecutive lows that were lining up from here, and none of these lows did price close below, right? So it was a thing of like it manipulated and rejected back to the upside because it didn't close in any of the lows of these consecutive candlesticks, right? Leaving us with the potential that we can see the bullish movements are kicking in, right? So with a week of expansion, so we call this an expansion since it took out the low and came back inside and create what we call a protected swing, right? So when we talk about the protected swing is that we are looking for bullish movement as much as prices are still above this low here. So as long as the market is still above this low here, we're still looking for bullish movements to the upside. And yeah, so this is our protected swing, right? If it was a lower time frame, it will give us, an area where we're gonna enter and then put our stop loss right about here. But then this is a weekly time frame, and we can't actually take a position right about here expecting price to basically respect the stop loss right about here, meaning we're gonna have to look for those scaling in positions in lower time frames, right? So and then we had another week of expansion right about here, another week of expansion, and then so it left out a high and the low, which is what we are working with this week, right? So the first thing what we realize is that this week price went expanded to the downside, right? So we can conclude of what this week the market has done because it the market hasn't basically closed a weekly time frame, so we're still looking for more movements, we're still looking for more expansions, and we're still looking for other opportunities that we can use to trade either price to the downside or reverse to the upside. But what we have currently is that the market swept the low of the open of sorry about that, the open of the 4th of August. So it swept the low, and then right now price is coming back inside, right? So coming back inside as in a format of a rejection. So currently I can't say we are going up or down because the weekly candle has not closed, but that doesn't mean we don't have opportunities to trade from a lower time frame, right? But that rejection, the sweep and the rejection, we should have a look at it, right? So when I come back to 1 hourly time frame, uh from Monday, right, we've been dropping, we've been expanding to the downside, right? On Monday, expanding to the downside. Then Tuesday came in and moved in a indecisive movement, consolidating, right? So it's consolidated, and then we got a small expansion right about here, which didn't leave the consolidation. But what we can see is that price came in, went out of the consolidation and then came back inside, right? Leaving this low right about here, but this low is not a protected swing yet because we don't have what a change in the state of delivery in the opposite direction to look for those buying opportunities to go to the upside. But what we had here is that price tried to leave the consolidation, but then came back inside, left again, came back inside, and then left again, right? With an expansion that was met with an expansion, meaning it didn't leave, it just expanded to the upside and expanded back inside, right? So we couldn't look for those buying opportunities. For us to look for those buying opportunities, we would have waited for an expansion that managed to close above this high right about here, this high right about here, but we had a manipulation price came back inside with another expansion, right? Which expansion met with expansion is a sign that price is failing to continue to the upside. Then we had some indecisive movement right about here. We had a manipulation creating a protected swing. We had a manipulation right about here, manipulating into a fair value gap right about here, as you can see from here. We had a manipulation that manipulated into a fair value gap, and then we had those rejections to the to the downside, creating our change in the state of delivery, creating a change in the state of delivery. The reason why I'm not trading this position is because we're changing the state of delivery, indecisive movement, and then an expansion. So it's an expansion met with expansion. So we don't know where prices go. Currently, prices still consolidating, right? So we had expansion met with expansion, which can be, an indication that price can still continue to the upside because we had an expansion met with expansion. But on the other side, it gives us an opportunity to look to buy, because if price come here, it will be making this a protected swing, which gives us an opportunity to trade those opportunities to basically the downside, right? To basically the downside. But currently, we are indecisive. As you can see from here, we are currently indecisive. So we're waiting for price to play along. So let me move to, you know, a lower time frame. So from a lower time frame, as you can see from here, we on a lower time frame we have this expansion right about here, met with expansion, retest expansion, right? So that expansion which leaves what a fair value gap right about here, which is I won't trade this fair value gap because it's inside an expansion, an indecisive expansion. As we are currently speaking, we just had another expansion movement to the downside, expanding, half past two. So we just expanded to the downside, and if we close right about here, if we close down here, we're gonna be looking for those retests and then continue to sell to the downside. So basically right now we're just waiting for price to play along, and it looks like we are having those bullish movement, strong movement. Yeah, I think it's CPI today or something. I don't know. PPI, yeah, it's PPI today. Like I don't follow the calendar that much. So it's PPI today. We had that expansion to the downside, right? Which goes hand in hand with the change in the state of delivery. And yeah, I couldn't trade this because an expansion met with an expansion can be a sign of bullish movements to the upside. But currently, if we close below here, we will be confirming our movement to the downside. Wait for a retest, or once it closes above, we enter our position. Target 1:2. Let's say price closes right about here, we're gonna be here, stop loss at the protected swing, and then target 1:2. 1:2 right about here. So that's what we're gonna be looking at for to unfold in for gold. So let's wait for price to play along. I'll upload the second part.